Wait, let me get the graphic. As the Pac-12 turns, and today, thank you. And today it is about the New York Post and this bombshell story that says Colorado, as the Pac-12 turns. And it's bombshell reporting out of the New York Post. It says Colorado could be the first team to jump to the Big 12, and this is pretty shocking. We've heard all about Arizona and Arizona State. We've heard all about all these teams that are talking to the Big 12, and interestingly enough, right here on the Monty Show, we've exclusively reported that Colorado is one of the teams heavily linked and who has had extensive talks with the Big 12. So, Jake, it feels like this is a pretty spot-on report out of the New York Post.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of reasons to like Colorado if you're the Big 12, but I also think that if you're Colorado, there's a lot of reasons to like the Big 12 as well. I think that the Big 12 is obviously a conference full of opportunity right now, and I think the one thing you can't get away from with Colorado, or I guess two things really. Number one is that they haven't been good, so they're not a super relevant program. But obviously, Prime and the opportunity. Prime hasn't won a game yet. Prime hasn't done anything as a P1 or a D1, P5 head coach yet. We can all agree on that universally. He just hasn't. But I think if you're Prime and you're Brett Yormark, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, I'm Brett Yormark. I'm innovative. I am looking to get to the cutting edge of what we can do from a monetary standpoint at the conference level to benefit our schools. And I think that Deion Sanders looks at that and says, hey, yeah, I do want to be part of a all Big 12 scouting combine at Jerry World. I do want to have opportunities to help the conference with, video content and marketing and all those things that Deion likes to do. But at the end of the day, I think that Colorado and maybe Deion himself, I'm not sure, but maybe even Deion himself looks at this situation and says, yeah, I don't really love where our conference is headed right now, and I want to get to a place that's a little more secure. And by the way, if you are the Big 12, a lot of people have said, well, they added BYU, so they have, the Mountain Time Zone. They've got what they need there. But while that may be true, I'm here to say it never hurts to add another one. It never hurts to add more value to your conference. And so to me, when I saw this come out, I thought it made perfect sense. I feel like it's maybe a match made in heaven's a little strong, but I think that at a minimum, Brett Yormark and Deion Sanders are like-minded individuals. They're both aggressive. They both like to tell their story. They both like to do things that nobody else is doing. So if you team those two guys up, I would think that a lot of good things would happen. So for me, when I saw this, I felt like, hey, this is a home run. And if it does indeed come to fruition, I don't think you could do much worse at this time. And by the way, I also think Colorado doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to lose by going to the Big 12. It's not like Colorado, once again, has been winning the Pac-12 or has been relevant in the college football playoff or even, not that they're a bad educational institution, but isn't necessarily regarded as, an all-world, just the best we've ever seen educational institution to a point where they wouldn't want to be in the Big 12. So that's why I say, again, if Utah doesn't want to go to the Big 12, Colorado's happy to jump on that ship. And I think that's why I say this just isn't all that surprising when you start to look around at all the different factors. For me, I think it absolutely makes perfect sense.
I think it's shocking. I think when you look at the way that Deion Sanders has come into Boulder, and you look at the way that the excitement has built day after day, week after week, and now that they're in spring practice, and you see the way that everybody's talking about the way Deion is running spring practice, and you see all of this, I really don't know that timing could be any worse here. That's the thing that stands out to me about this report in the New York Post is I just think it's terrible timing. It felt like the CW news and the NBC Universal news kind of brought some calm waters. Like, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And now the New York Post, of all places, is saying that Colorado could be the first school to jump from the Pac-12. And it just erupts all of this controversy and this talk again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brings, you know what the hard part for me is? I think it brings us back to this place with the Pac-12 where now we're wondering, what's the issue? When's it going to get done? Why hasn't it gotten done yet? And it brings me back to the issue of, well, everybody says it's no big deal. They have all this time. Baloney. They don't have all this time. What you have is a league and 10 members of that league who are all looking at each other with their hands in the air like, okay, well, if you're not going to answer my question, I'll go find answers somewhere else.
This is a code 10
and it is the lonely husband. Hey, listen, man, if the husband's lonely, he's going to find companionship somewhere. And Deion, I'm telling you, is out trolling the strip in the Big 12. That's what it feels like.
Right.
It was probably a little too graphic. But my point is, you understand what I'm saying. Like, this feels real to me.
Well, timing-wise, I think the timing portion is your best point, I think. I mean, having this come out, again, to your point, during, spring practice, again, Prime's first year in the program, right? So it's not like this is his 10th season at Colorado. It's your first time. It's your first spring practice. It's your first this, your first, like, it is the first for everything at Colorado. And
That's right.
And I think when you get news comes out about how, hey, like, Colorado, in the Big 12, and hey, there's interest there. And, so, yeah, it isn't great timing. I will agree with that. But I think since we're on the topic of timing, I feel like timing, in a sense, yeah, it's not great, but at the same time, there is no real timetable here. I mean, we've been talking about the issue of time since last summer, dude. Like, we've been talking about, hey, it's going to get done at Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year, then when your mom's ready, then when your dad's ready. Like, dude, like, we've been talking about timing issues with this situation for what seems like forever.
A year.
So, like,
a year.
Yeah, like a year. And so if I'm Deion, let's just surmise, and I'm not saying that this is the truth, but let's just surmise. Let's say that Deion said to himself, okay, yeah, I want to go out and get aggressive. I want to go out and have a conversation myself with Brett Yormark, and I want to see what the opportunity would be. I don't know if that happened, but let's say he did. What better time than now? What better time than as soon as possible to get on the same page with Brett Yormark if you are indeed interested in joining the conference? And that's the struggle. Yeah, it is spring practice. Yeah, you are trying to build a program here. Yeah, you are trying to do things. But at the same time, you can't just ignore the conference and the lack of health that's in the conference,
right.
Dude. Like,
exactly right. And I think that's the easy narrative to play if you're the Pac-12. Hey, everything's fine here. Hey, listen, don't pay attention to the house that's on fire behind me. You focus on me now. Okay, I'm the captain now. Focus on me, right? Like, that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
Like the Pac-12 is burning to the ground, and everybody's like, no, it's fine. And it's not fine. And again, it doesn't matter almost which side you come down on. The truth of the matter is that Brett Yormark, I think, the commissioner of the Big 12, I think Brett Yormark has spoken this into existence.
I'm for real.
Because it's hard if you're a Pac-12 team that has aspirations, or a Pac-12 school that has aspirations of joining the Big 12. So let's even say the Arizonas, Colorado, and I don't know, Utah. They have aspirations, let's say. We know for almost for fact, they've all spoken to the Big 12.
Yeah.
You're sitting here in the Pac-12 with no money, and you're watching the Big 12 just going to town high on the hog.
Yeah.
Like, they're not eating pig's feet, dude. They're eating, like, the best of the best.
Y'all feel me?
And you're sitting here starving, and you feel like you're accomplishing absolutely nothing. But Brett Yormark is doing a Rucker Park deal, and Brett Yormark has Shaq DJing the Big 12 basketball tournament, and you're just watching all of this stuff happen again and again and again, and you're Gonzaga, and you're contemplating your future, and you have an invitation to both the Big 12 and the Pac-12, which we've exclusively reported here on the show. How are you looking at the Pac-12 as more attractive than the Big 12? And I'm here for it today. Honestly, all the truck stop conference jerks, or, all of the, look, Big 12 football brought to you by Flying J. Hey, I'm here for it, dude. But honestly, tell me, how are you going to make the argument that the Pac-12 is more attractive than the Big 12? Because I just don't think you can do it. I truly do not.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, for a guy like Prime, who, like, let's not forget what Prime's done here. I mean, Prime had to go in, to Colorado and get them to lower the academic standards so that he could recruit more guys into his program. And so they have a good working relationship, that being Prime and the head honchos at Colorado. Clearly, they've got a good relationship here, and clearly, like, they're talking. And I feel like I can't get away from this idea that it makes sense. Like, even, like, just take out all the video stuff and all the cool stuff Prime's doing. Like, just look at Prime as just an individual. Prime has always been that guy that's playing offense. He's always been the guy that wanted to be the enigma, the two-sport guy, the guy that was in your face, the guy that was better than you. Like, he's always been that guy. And so just on a baseline, before you even get to numbers and leaving the conference or whatever, on a baseline, it just makes perfect sense because you just added this guy. He's doing things for you already. Do we all agree that Colorado's been, like, this offseason for Colorado's been the biggest offseason they've had in a while? Just from, like, a
probably in my
relevancy
lifetime.
standpoint,
I'm 50 years old. Probably in my lifetime that I can remember, this is the biggest offseason I can ever remember at Colorado.
So when you're having a huge offseason and you've got this conference stuff going on, it just to me, yeah, it is bad timing. Yeah, this is a little surprising on one hand, but on another hand, it's not surprising to me at all, man. It makes sense.
And I guess the other question to be asked here is, would Colorado leaving the Pac-12 be a significant blow to the conference? And I'm telling you, I passionately believe it would. I think the excitement that Deion Sanders has brought to the conference, I think the fact that they're probably going to have full houses in Boulder this fall, I think the relevance of Colorado football, and if this were to happen, you'd be talking about a year and 2 months from now. So you go through this season with Colorado and then another spring football, and then they're gone. And it just feels like this is a catastrophic move for the Pac-12. And I say that because I am of the belief that you can't lose a single school. You can't lose a single school in the Pac-12 and expect to thrive on any level. Because, again, if you go to the stories and you go to the talking points that we've had on this conference, our sources have told us that San Diego State is essentially just on the clock. They're in the Pac-12.
Come on, let's go, Schlep Rock.
They're just waiting for a TV deal, and then they're going to be in. So let's say you replace Colorado with San Diego State. Okay, I would think that that's like for like. Boulder Market says, okay, fine. But now you're back at 10, so now what happens when Arizona leaves? Because if one leaves, this is the domino effect. I think if Colorado jumps, other schools will follow them.
That's it, Skippy.
Once they see that the door's open, I don't see any way that you prevent other institutions from joining Colorado in the Big 12 because the money and the allure is too much, especially if Brett Yormark is really delivering the value per school that we're hearing about. These Rucker Park deals. What is Deion Sanders like standing center court at Rucker Park?
Dude.
Like, think about that. Think about the pull of being around a guy like that. If you're a basketball player, I think you still want to be around Deion Sanders.
Please.
Like, I think that matters. I think Deion Sanders is a magnet. So when we talk about would Colorado be a loss for the Pac-12, I think it absolutely. A year ago, probably not. Now, yeah, I absolutely think it's a loss for the conference.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the other thing when you compare Colorado to San Diego State doesn't have Prime. Like, well, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Colorado, but the reality is, like, whether it's Jackson State or Colorado, Prime has always been a magnetic guy. And that's why I say, like, again, we can't go too far with it. He hasn't won a game. He hasn't done anything in the conference yet, but I think he's already having an impact from marketing to, revenue opportunities. Like, he's having that impact. And so that's why I say, like, you're totally right. If Colorado jumps ship, now it's up to Arizona. Hey, Arizona, you going to go? And if Arizona goes, Arizona State's going. And if Arizona State's going, who's to say that Utah doesn't have a change of heart? Because the other thing that goes on here is once schools start leaving, then it's like, okay, well, hey, Colorado just left. Are we really not going to go and check if the pasture's greener on the other side of the fence? Are we really not going to go?
The emotions change.
Yeah.
When you see one of your brethren bail, your emotions change. I don't think there's any doubt about that. everybody is a verbal tough guy until they're forced to move off their spot. Until they're made really uncomfortable. Losing another Pac-12 school would make the other remaining 9 very uncomfortable. And I think that you would see. I'm with you. I think Arizona wants to go.
Yeah.
No, the landscape,
Dude.
the comments. Again, and it's easy for us here on the Monty Show to just put their own words up on the screen. Like you look at what Robbins said about knowing the Big 12's number. Look at this quote. This is from President Robbins at Arizona. I know what the Big 12 number is. I just need to hear what the Pac-12 number is. Then I can make a decision.
Yes.
And he's talked about also Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports, quoting President Robbins at Arizona, painted a nuanced picture for Arizona, citing the school's proximity to the Big 12 footprint and that league's powerhouse basketball brand as the basis for, quote, some affinities.
All gas, no brake.
Right? Like President Robbins, I think if he had his druthers, would be in the Big 12 today.
Yeah.
That's what those kind of quotes make you feel like. So I don't have any doubt that if this New York Post story is true, and really it's New York Post one-liner is true, that Colorado could very well be the first team to jump. Dude, I don't think there's any question in my mind that we're talking about weeks here. We're not talking about months. And again, if you're just tuning into the show and if you're new here, I will just tell you what we've talked about for months on end. Our sources at ESPN have told us they're not willing to go any more than $90 million a year. And this was about 3 weeks ago. We're not willing to go any more than $90 million a year. And what that means is $9 million per school on linear TV, and then the Pac-12 would have to go and find a streaming partner. And the answer to that was, hey, we're going to talk to NBC Universal, who we've exclusively reported on the show. NBC Universal would use USA Network as the home for Pac-12 athletics, football, and basketball. And they would use the Peacock streaming app and the Peacock streaming platform as a streaming platform. But that would only get them probably $17 to $20 million per school per year. It's not nearly enough.
Right.
And the question is, does the relationship with NBC, knowing that you would only have a game or two for the entire season on the big NBC network, because don't forget they have NASCAR, don't forget they've got all kinds of Big Ten programming coming up in the next deal. They've got Notre Dame that they're trying to renew on a larger deal. Okay, so maybe NBC Universal is not the best option. Last week we heard, hey, the CW is interested, and we were telling you, hey, the problem with the CW is they do not have owned and operated stations all throughout the footprint of the Pac-12, and we showed you this map of the CW owned and operated stations, because that's what this is. And you'll notice it in Arizona and in Washington. There are no dots. Now, that does not mean that there are not CW television stations there. But what that means is the CW does not control the programming on those stations. And this is very much akin to Live Golf. And what do we know about Live Golf on the CW? A large number, including major markets, have said we're not going to carry Live Golf. We don't want to air their programming. So they did this great deal with the CW, and Live Golf's not on but a quarter of the stations on the CW network.
Yeah.
So you start to understand that, okay, well, we control the owned and operateds. Well, that's all well and good until the CW cuts people's heads off and refuses to air Live Golf. Okay, so now are you telling me, and I'll put this map back up, look at Chicago, right? Because you have WGN TV in Chicago. Do you really think Oregon State and Washington is a game that WGN Chicago is interested in? I can't believe they would be interested in that game. I cannot believe that would happen.
Is that a real question?
I can't believe that New York, New Jersey. I can't believe the Carolinas. I can't believe that, the Ohios, the Indianas, the Pennsylvanias, the upstate New Yorks are interested in that programming.
Yeah.
I can't believe that the CW in New Orleans is going to air Oregon State and Stanford football on a Saturday afternoon. Like, I have a hard time with that. So we've talked about the limitations of that deal. Our sources have said repeatedly that Pac-12 presidents, including, because we've talked to people in a lot of places, including at the top of the food chain at Utah, who told us ESPN's really got to be involved for this to be the deal we need it to be.
Yeah.
ESPN and the Pac-12 have a fractured relationship at this point, have not spoken in weeks, and currently do not have a deal on the table. And that's where the Pac-12 is. So a report out of the New York Post that has Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes and the University of Colorado going back to the Big 12 really is not that surprising.
Yeah.
That's just kind of I think the entirety of where the Pac-12 TV deal is right now. And then again, you have this situation in the Big 12 where I truly believe that Brett Yormark does not have to do a thing. He has to do nothing.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's likely to get Gonzaga. I think no matter what the TV deal is, he's likely to get 2 schools from the Pac-12.
Gonzaga.
And he really has to do nothing because who else does he have on his side? Well, he's got ESPN. And my opinion is that ESPN would not bat an eye at the failure of the Pac-12.
It is what it is.
In fact, it would not. I think it's too strong to say that ESPN is working to collapse the Pac-12. I think that's too much. They are certainly at ESPN, in my opinion, not going out of their way to save the Pac-12.
They ain't losing sleep over the Pac-12, bro.
Because they own the football and basketball rights along with Fox in the Big 12. So what happens if the Pac-12 fails? Well, the majority of those schools are going to wind up in the Big 12. And they already have that landscape.
Too bad.
So the limited amount of programming that ESPN needs from the Pac-12 will be handed to them on a silver platter if the Pac-12 goes away.
Yep.
And I think that's the reality of the arrogance that has been the Pac-12 now for the better part of their existence. And it did not improve with Larry Scott leaving.
Yeah.
It did not.
And I think that's why ESPN has been like, hey, take it or leave it, right? Like, because ESPN knows
Certainly.
one way or the other, you guys are going to merge with the Big 12. At some point, you're either going to merge and survive or you're going to die and we're going to pick up the trash. I mean,
Yep.
that's what it is.
I agree. Oh, can I finish?
Please, yes.
Can I finish? Thank you. Can I finish? Bucked Up is the official energy drink of the Monty Show. So before we get to all your comments, good to see everybody on the show today. Good to see all of your comments. Join me in cracking open the singularly best flavor of Bucked Up Energy, in my opinion. Some Miami.
Good.
Take a big gulp with me. Bucked Up Energy. Have you had it? You got to get it. It's in every Maverick store in Utah. So if you live in Utah, go get Miami. It's at every Maverick. Adventure's first stop. Maverick. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it at any of the Bucked Up stores. But also, how about we give you some free samples? Because you know we like giving stuff away in the show. 3 free samples and a free Bucked Up shaker. And folks, they are the best Bucked Up shaker. Now, you know I'm getting my colonoscopy on Thursday, so my regular big Bucked Up shaker, well, I'm using it for prep on Wednesday. Don't forget we'll be off on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that the evacuation of the lower half may happen.
Yeah.
The Bucked Up shakers are phenomenal. Get a free one of any color combination you want. 3 free samples. Please take my word for it and get the racked BCAs or the LFG pre-workout. They're awesome. It's all in the description below right here on our YouTube channel. If you're listening on podcasts, there's also a link below on there. Click the free samples link. They'll send them right to your door for free at Bucked Up Energy, the official energy partner of the Monty Show. And I will always say the reason they're the best, it tastes good. It works better than it tastes. And I just love their brand. It's aggressive. They're hip. They're moving. They answer to their customers. I just love everything that Ryan Gardner and his brother and his family have built at Bucked Up Energy, a local Utah company, entrepreneurs to their core.
Facts.
Go get the free samples in the link below. Let's get your thoughts in here. First one in today is Marlon Shaw, who gives us $5. What a great way to generate pub for Colorado. Their name will be on every sports show if they make the jump first. Could be a brilliant move.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Absolutely.
They are 100% incentivized to do it.
Yeah, I agree, Marlon. Good to see you. Zesties, Retro, and Games. What do you see as the first domino and when? I maintain Arizona will be the first one to go. And if we're talking about real firsts, I think once this Pac-12 TV deal is announced, that truly could be the first domino. Because I also think that once that happens, you're going to see a bunch of things happen in reaction to that. I think Gonzaga absolutely could be one of the first ones to go. I think there's no question about that. And I think it is long before July. I think that July 1st is just a ripcord that people are using to kind of mitigate the damage of what has been an atrociously long period of nothingness. I honestly, I think George Kliavkoff has done nothing and has been able to do nothing. And now, from what I understand, is not authorized by the presidents of the Pac-12 to speak to the media. He has to get permission to do that. I mean, it's brutal. And again, I tell you, we have sent an email every week to the Big 12 asking for Brett Yormark to join us on the show. Today, we finally got a response. Brett Yormark is not speaking to the media at this time.
So what does
Very
that tell
simple
you?
response.
What does that tell you, though? Because this is somebody who's done great work in the media.
Why would you?
Precisely.
Why would you? There's no reason to do that. There is no reason for Brett Yormark to say two words because all he can do is go down from here because my guy's at the top, man. The guy has been absolutely brilliant. MJ Bissett, if the Pac is interested in linear TV exposure, why haven't Sinclair Stadium TV, name not in the rumor mill? Because I think Sinclair has their cash spent in other places. And as a Chicago Cubs fan, I can tell you that Sinclair has a significant investment in those things. I also think the Bally's TV and some of the financial drag that we have seen there and the massive amount of debt that is involved there, I think plays a significant role there. There's no question about that. Seems like a better fit with sports channel branding over the air and streaming built in. I think your best fit here is Amazon Prime Sports. Let's stop screwing around. In my opinion, and I'm happy to hear from you guys. In my opinion, the absolute best fit in this situation is ESPN and Amazon Prime Sports. Get it done. Mm-hmm. Get it done. The reason it hasn't been done, and again, this is just my opinion, the reason it's not been done is because we were told very early in this process, I think back in October, that ESPN does not view Amazon as a competitor. Right. They just do not. And they were not going to, I think what Brett Yormark tried to do with Amazon was to bring ESPN into a fight, into a battle, and he was not going to do it. And I think ESPN got very smart and said, oh, that's cool. That's great. And I think that right there is where the fracture with ESPN began.
You mean George Kliavkoff?
Yes, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Brett.
Yeah, George Kliavkoff wanted to go to Amazon and bring a competitor into the conversation. And ESPN wasn't willing to do it. Yeah. ESPN was like, hey, cool, dude, good luck.
Which is brilliant. I mean, isn't that the type of decision and type of mentality that ESPN, or really that's made ESPN who they are today? I mean, you look at everything from, hell, remember back in the day when the whole, hey, people are not reading the magazine anymore and ESPN's going to die and they're not going to survive. And then what did ESPN go ahead and do? They started ESPN Plus, and now we're here today watching the Masters all last week on ESPN Plus because that's what we want. That's what we crave. And that's why I say, like, if the Pac-12 was smart, they would do something way out of left field. Get crazy with it. Go all in on streaming. And I think they would be heavily rewarded by the consumer.
I think that there is no doubt, and again, this is just my opinion, but there is no doubt in my mind that when we look at the situation at ESPN, that ESPN's made a lot of mistakes in the space. Like the late assimilation to streaming was a huge mistake. There's just no question about that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And you yet understand that their billions allowed them to recover with an event like UFC over the weekend. Or, you look at the way that ESPN Plus and ESPN the app have exploded, and the adoption of ESPN the app on just about everybody's phone and smart TV. Because I can tell you right now, I watched the Masters recap the other night on my phone through the ESPN app. We watched the Masters stream on TV, right? I mean,
featured groups.
Guys, I think ESPN has reacted brilliantly. Clinton, appreciate you and the super chat. First time Clinton's ever given us a super chat. Says Sports Business Journal reporting that Pac-12 COO leaving for a communication agency. Yes, that is correct. Jamie is gone. Leaving by the end of the week, by Friday. Yes, which is insignificant. I'm not the guy that's like, oh my God,
the Pac is burning.
I think people take jobs, and I don't think this is an indication of, because what everybody will spin this into is, oh my God, it's over. It's not over. This is somebody taking a job. And could it be that Jamie sees the end of the world? Because Jamie Zaninovich is somebody that's really well thought of, really sharp, really smart. There's no reason that Jamie wouldn't be getting recruited. I mean, but this isn't all the ships going down, I'm jumping off now.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. That's not what it is at all. So I don't think it is. I don't think that's what this is at all. Patrick Boren, hello. The new Big 12 is reminding me of the old Alabama chant, roll, tide, roll.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you ain't wrong about that. Salty Drunk, how the heck are you? I bet Ron McClure was gifted his membership. Okay. Ron McClure says, I think and you guys believe, LOL. Okay, I don't know what that means. Two Masters says, Monty will be the first to go number 2 on Wednesday. I will. Bros, okay, so. And I see all the colonoscopy stuff. I'm having a colonoscopy Thursday. You basically have to drink 56 ounces of laxatives the day before. And not only that, what are you doing Thursday morning at 3? Why don't you come over to the crib and drink another 28 ounces of laxatives with me? I have to get up at 3 o'clock on Thursday, 4 hours. My colonoscopy is at 7 o'clock on Thursday. 4 hours before the colonoscopy, I have to drink another 28 ounces of laxatives. All right, put a towel on the driver's seat. Okay? All right, let's move on.
Good talk.
Good times, right? That's the way the world works. Jim Choi. Yup, a really smart deputy commissioner of the PAC from degrees from Stanford and Princeton. Yeah, very, very
but
smart.
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think you can just jump to the conclusion as to why. I mean,
I don't think so either.
You know, that her having degrees could easily be why she took the position. I mean,
was attractive.
Yeah, or was attractive or whatever. Like, you know, like it just, yeah.
I just don't think that I'm not willing to go that far.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that it is, I don't know. Thank you, Scott Rayner, for the $10 tip. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see. Zesty gives us $2 more. Do you see the Pac-12 surviving football season without a deal? Well, yeah, their money's in place. I think a lot of people have this belief in that, oh my God, the Pac-12 is just one day we're going to turn on the TV and there will be no more Pac-12. It doesn't work that way. The Pac-12 is going to get paid through July of 2024. The question is what happens after that date. That's what we're all talking about. So they have their standard TV deal as it is now. So I would not worry. Like it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Again, Scott, thanks for the $10 tip. Appreciate it. Marlon Shaw gives us 5 more. Jamie disassociating himself from the Kliavkoff taint. That is smart by him. It is. I mean, if you're truly leaving because the conference is crashing, yeah, you're probably better off going now than later. But I just don't think that's what's going on, in my opinion. Jerry Davis says, if the Pac-10 is sinking ship, we think it could be Mountain West hold on to San Diego State and get Oregon State, Washington State, and maybe convince North Dakota State and Texas school. Okay. I don't know what that means. Like, that's all well and good.
I think it's too far there. I mean, you just can't.
I mean, trying to go that far down the road is not going to get you anywhere. Renee Roca says 6 votes wouldn't be enough to change anything unless other universities agree with them. Okay, I don't disagree with that. Riley O'Brien says, hey, Monty.
Hey, Monty.
Greatest RV salesman in the country. Riley O'Brien, you need an RV or anything RV, make sure you hit up Riley. Good to see you. Sebesta, what's up? Cal is a critical piece here. Some of their current P10 members rely on Cal for research partnership dollars. Totally agree. Don in Kansas. Christopher Shannon says, Don in Kansas, exactly. Don't want the uppityness to infect the Big 12.
It's so funny.
It is so funny. Let's see. Jaron Eccles, a Cubs fan. God bless you and me. I think we should all come together and praise the holy Danny Ainge for getting rid of Rudy and turning that disaster of a player into multiple future championships. We'll talk about that coming up at about 20 minutes. Look at you guys on the super chat. Appreciate everybody. $4.99 from 1984 national champions BYU.
Yeah, national champions.
Like in our members only Instagram chat today, I kind of lost my patience for the BYU versus Utah. Like Tanner Plummer, the super soaker, puts in the members only Instagram chat today, which you can join, by the way. Hit the join button, and I'll put a link in the comments right now. For $9.99 a month, you get access into our Instagram members only chat.
Stay hard.
Tanner puts in there today, well, hey, bro, look at the view at BYU baseball. Can't tell me Utah's got a view like that.
Hey, guys.
Like, who cares? Who cares? I'm so over that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the comparison stuff.
Yeah.
That absolutely drives me crazy, the comparison stuff. Let's see. Dusty827. Colorado can only leave if the Pac refuses grant of rights. Can't leave on their own. Certainly they can leave on their own.
Yeah, they can.
It's as simple as their contract is up.
And you have no, respectfully, you don't understand grant of rights if you think that that George Kliavkoff is in control of grant of rights. He's not.
He has no control over the grant of right. The way, and again, I don't mind saying it. The way that the grant of rights works is very simple. George Kliavkoff is working with an executive council, which is 3 presidents, led by President Kase at Washington. They are essentially working hand in hand. Kliavkoff goes out, talks to whoever he wants to talk to, gets the best TV deal he can get, returns that TV deal that, let's say it's ESPN and Amazon, and it's for this amount of money. That goes to the executive committee who's like, okay, this is great. They kick it down to the other 7 members. All 7 of those members have to agree to it and sign their grant of rights.
That's not what we're about.
You don't sign the grant of rights to the TV partner. You sign the grant of rights to the conference, and the deal for TV and distribution is with the conference. It is not between Stanford and ESPN.
Yeah.
It's between ESPN and the Pac-12 conference. So it isn't as though Colorado's like, oh, yeah, I'm out. See you later. Well, the way that works is their grant of rights runs through July 1st of 2024. That's when it expires. And at that point, they're a free agent. So what are you seeing with USC and UCLA? Well, what you're seeing is they're saying, okay, hey, we're leaving July 1st of 2024. See you guys later. So they can announce it whenever they want. They can't leave unless they pay their way out. They can't leave until July 1st, 2024.
Yeah.
That's when they can go. Same thing with, it's different for BYU, even though BYU was an independent, had a TV deal with the Big 12. It's different for all of these schools based on their grant of rights. In the ACC, nobody's leaving because it's $500 million penalty to get out of that grant of rights. So nobody's leaving. But when your grant of rights is expired, nobody's telling you where to go or what to do. CJ Vance, what's up? He says, hey guys, just renewed my BYU season tickets. Let's go.
There you go.
Football season's coming, man. Gary says, let's merge already. Indeed. Just merge. And again, I will tell you, ESPN and Fox strongly suggested
yes,
that the Pac-12 and the Big 12 merge. And the Pac-12 said, no, thanks. We're not interested. Didn't even want to have conversations about it. Scott Rayner gives us $2 more. Brett Yormark announced working on Big 12 Mexico. Okay. I mean, that would be awesome. That would be, the fun.
Just take it nice and easy. Okay?
Pull it
Just
out,
relax.
Jake. Let's go.
We get to
New
pull it
member.
out, bro. Here we go. Let's go.
Everybody, welcome Ruben Reyes to the membership. Ruben, we appreciate you. Way to go. You guys' membership is absolutely worth it. For $1.99 or $9.99, it's up to you. The $9.99 gets you into our Instagram exclusive members only chat, which is always lit. And essentially that's where we put all of our exclusive information, all of our sourcing on the NBA, on the Pac-12 deal. It all goes in there first before we bring it to the show, before we bring it to Twitter. It all goes in that membership group first. Now, you do have to deal with Salty Drunk, who occasionally is angry because he still owes us 4X Gold.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
He owes us now a keg of 4X Gold. And really, we're getting a multiple kegs.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's fine. It's fine, Let's see. Renee Roca says, no to merger. Big 12 doesn't need the dopes running the pack to match voting. I don't believe that it's a thing where Brett would lose control.
Yeah.
I mean, and at this point, why would the Big 12 agree to a merger? You wouldn't. You would simply welcome their members to your conference.
Yep.
Period, point blank. I think that's the end of the road, in my opinion. Zesty says, what happens in opinion if nothing by July 4th, 2024? It will never get there because these other schools will have made decisions by July 1st, in my opinion, by July 1st of this year. So it's never going to get there. I mean, it's simply a matter of your games won't be on. If nobody went anywhere, their games wouldn't be on TV. But it's never going to get there. You're either going to get a new deal or teams are going to jump.
Agreed.
Tanner Plummer says, then the Pac-12 is officially screwed, Zesty. Yeah, I just don't think it'll get there. Jeff Watson, Brett Yormark waits for Oregon and Washington after taking one or two Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
Hell out of here with that.
Does Oregon and Washington feel like a fit in the Big 12? Because it doesn't to me.
Dude. They are Big Ten schools.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a fit to me. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. It doesn't feel like a fit to me. Everybody's a fit at TryDayTrading.com. Make sure you get there. Check out their $10 30-day membership. If you woke up today and you said, damn, it's Monday, Jerry's such a jerk of a boss. I hate going to work. I hate doing work. Even if you work at home. When you work remotely and you hate your job, that's the worst because then all you do is sit on the TV and eat food and get fired, right? So you're fat and you're jobless. Don't do that. Work for yourself. Get the education you need to thrive. That's why you go to TryDayTrading.com. They're going to turn you into a prolific day trader, and there has never been a better market for day trading than exists right now. That's why it's a revolution. And the deal at TryDayTrading.com, $10 for a 30-day membership is phenomenal. You're going to get one-on-one coaching from TryDayTrading.com. And the thing that's the best part about it is you get your own professional day trading coach who's going to teach you how to use TryDayTrading.com's proprietary leading indicators. And then upon your graduation from the program, they're going to give you up to $100,000 of their money to trade. You don't use your money to make your first day trades. No, friends. You trade with TryDayTrading.com's money, and when you make money, they give you 80% of the profit. So again, I just ask you, what do you have to lose? Coast to coast, north to south, east to west in the great United States of America. Get to TryDayTrading.com. Select the $10 30-day membership. It's a charitable donation. The $10 is given to a charity. That's a tax write-off for you. It's your education. That's a tax write-off for you. You really have nothing to lose. And if in 30 days it's not for you, walk away. It was a $10 charity donation that you're going to write off on your taxes anyway. TryDayTrading.com. Make sure you select the Monty Show in the drop-down menu. All right, football at 50 coming up here in about 7 minutes. Cam Harrison gives us a $2 tip. Good afternoon, guys. Shout out to Mo Bamba. What's up, Cam? Good to see you, my guy. It's been a while. Tanner says, sorry, Cam. Jake doesn't play the Mo Bamba drop anymore.
Shout to Mo Bamba. Shout to Mo Bamba. Shout to Mo Bamba.
But wait, you don't play that drop anymore.
Shout to Mo Bamba.
What are you talking about? MJ Bissett says, I don't think you have a full merger. Big 12 doesn't want the less desirable teams in the pack. I don't think there are less desirable teams.
And I think we're past a full merger now.
Yeah.
I don't think Brett has no reason. Big 12 has no reason to fully merge with the Pac-12.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Let's see. Jason Spangler. Rock Chalk's up, y'all. What's up, Spangler?
Hey,
good
y'all.
to see you. Jeff Johnson says, hey, yo, man, how the heck are you guys? Pretty good, Geoff. Good to see you. Tom says, we are still seeing lower highs and lower lows. The candles are bright red. Pay me $10. Okay.
It's the fucking vernal equinox.
Look, Tom, I mean, absolutely. Cam Harrison says, thanks, Jake. You're welcome. Yeah. Cyclone Steve says, Cal is a less desirable school. Is it really, though?
I think it depends who you are. I mean,
just on academics alone, isn't Cal super valuable to a conference that struggles, comparatively speaking, struggles academically to its main competitors? I don't think that they are. I really don't think that they are in any way, shape, or form. I really don't think they are. Driggs Walker says, what are you guys' thoughts on the Jazz NBA draft? 12 minutes from now, we will
stay
tell
here.
you.
We have a lot on the Jazz today.
Yeah, I'll tell you. There is one player I want the Jazz to draft. Depending on where they end up, will he be there, will he not? But man, there's one guy that I have no life. I've got to get a life. Honestly, we spend way too much time on this. David Sebesta says, it's cherry pick time. Grab the bigger markets and the rest can screw off in a G5.
Hey, you start talking shit.
The rest can screw off in a G5. Sebesta keeping it real. I keeps it real.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Spangler says, I'd take Cal in the Big 12. So would I. Absolutely. Riley O'Brien says, I often listen to shows from this time a year ago. To think this has tripled in audience size and is only getting started is phenomenal. The Monty Show is elite. Thank you, Riley O'Brien. We appreciate that very much. Renee Roca says, Cal with Midnight Aaron Rodgers. Exactly. I mean, we could be talking about a darkness retreat.
You're Aaron fucking Rodgers?
Yeah, we could be doing a darkness retreat at the whatever, truck stop in the Big 12 country.
Having fun is the name of the game.
I still maintain truck stop conference is this great insult because no matter where you are, there are truck stops.
Yeah.
So explain to me again how the Pac-12 is not a truck stop conference.
Yeah, you telling me there's no Flying J's by Stanford?
What does that mean? There are truck stops in Los Angeles. What? Hello? Are you serious? Dale Donuts, gents, I have to get going, but just wanted to thank you for the awesome show. Thank you, Dale Donuts.
Yeah, dude, have a good day.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Alpha Kenny guy. Is Utah getting an NHL team? Hopefully.
I don't know. Are the Jazz gonna work on their image with corporate sponsors? That would help.
That would help. Jet Wayman, the tile king of Utah. Seriously, if you need tile work done, you should probably call Jet. I think the Jazz get lucky and get a top 4 pick. Well, I'll give you a name coming up here in about 15 minutes who you should want to target there. Jeremy Severe, Anthony Black seems like the favorite to be the pick for the Jazz in most outlets. Could be. Jeff Watson, who is the number 3 school in the pack behind you, Oregon and Washington? Who has the most influence? Well, I would tell you that Oregon doesn't have much influence at all right now because they have an interim president. I don't think there is any doubt in anybody's mind Washington kind of runs the world right now. If I had to say number 2, probably Michael Crow at Arizona. Carries quite a bit of water in this town. I would think, if I had to say number...
Michael Crow is Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what you think Oregon is. They're in that conversation. But when you don't have a real president, you don't have the person. I would think number 3 would probably be Utah, because they just win. Number 4 would be Arizona. Number 5 would probably be Stanford. Number 6 would probably be Oregon State or Washington State, and then Washington State or Oregon State. And I think at the bottom of that list is Colorado. I mean, they can roll if they want to roll. I just don't think they have much say on what happens in the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is, in my opinion, I think it's President Cossey at Washington, and she has an enormous amount of influence in this conference.
Yeah.
I mean, an enormous amount of influence in the conference. It is. We talk to people all the time that tell us, you know, she pretty much cracks the whip on Kliavkoff. Like, I don't even know that there's a number 2 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have to believe it's Michael Crow at Arizona State. But I think he's so heavily invested in what Arizona does. I mean, they're just two total opposites. Like, I think Arizona State basketball, even with Bobby Hurley, just has been such a mediocre mid-program. But yet Arizona football has never been relevant. So you have, I mean, they're equally important to each other.
Because it's garbage.
And I think they need to be in the same conference. I truly do. I think they need to be in the same conference. And I don't know. I think, but I also say the same thing about BYU and Utah. I mean, BYU and Utah make a much better existence in the same conference.
But the difference is they're not together in the same conference already. They're just together geographically. And
I would
think
agree with that.
For so long, Utah and the Pac-12 flipped its nose at BYU that
I would agree with that.
I do personally believe that there's a little bit of pride in that conversation with Utah, but I think the thing for Utah is education and academics over anything.
And I really, man, that's an interesting question. Watson, I think that's a really interesting question because I still maintain I Washington and then everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Michael Crow has more of a voice than most people give him credit for. And I think because Arizona's a preeminent basketball program in the conference, President Robbins probably has a little bit of sway as well. But I have no doubt that President Robbins wants out. I really do. Taylor Smith says, where's the BYU truck stop? To Willow? That's
Provo.
where it is. I mean, they're all over the place. It's such a dumb insult. Like, it's just such a dumb insult. That's the thing I don't understand.
I just think it's funny.
It's so stupid. Like, you drive anywhere in the state of Utah, there are truck stops.
Hey, douche, you got to go to a truck stop to get gas.
All right, a couple more, and then we got to get to football at 50. Salty Trunk says thunder up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't.
Notice what he changed his picture to?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert. The worst contract in the history of the NBA. Cougar Tail. Maverick is the truck stop for BYU. Love me some Maverick in Miami.
Hey,
let's go, Cougar Tail. Let's go. I love that. Yeah, how about that? Bucked Up Energy now is available at every Utah location. And yes, even though when I was there the other day in West Valley over here, sold out. Every Maverick we went to sold out of Miami.